Because in Japan it's called Biohazard, in America it's called Resident Evil. So when they called it Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, in Japan, it's just Biohazard, pretty much. But with 8, they're doing the same thing with the village, with putting the 7 in there with Village. But I heard that they might actually just remove the V11 and just have it all the same color.
Well, V11 isn't that when it?
8.
Isn't that just
well,
8? Yeah.
111 because ILL. They had the ILL with 3 dashes. And so if they do that and you just have one solid color and remove the dots, then
I think it would hurt their sales.
Then people are not going to see it as 8. They're just going to see it as Resident Evil Village, and they'll be like, oh, then I don't need this one.
Yeah.
And it'll probably hurt the sales. Honestly, Resident Evil 8 is looking a lot better than 7, and probably a lot better than 3 Remake. Even though 3 Remake would have been really good, if they didn't cut the content, they actually like spent good time on it, like they are supposedly of Resident Evil 4.
Let's hope
we still have to wait and see if 4 Remake's gonna be good or not.
Good. Let's hope they do good.
But if they spend as much care as they are 4, supposedly, you know what I'm saying?
We don't know.
Then 3 would have been one of the better remakes, and I was hyped for 3. And then when I seen the gameplay of 3, I was like, I mean, I played the demo. I was like, oh, I like the gameplay and whatnot. But then when the game came out, and everybody was talking about it and playing it, and then I found out that they cut things like the mercenaries and all that stuff. They only had the 2 alternate outfits, was just Resident Evil 1 Jill,
That's actually kind of weird.
Resident Evil 3 Remake Jill, and then Resident Evil 3 Classic Jill. That's it. It was just like, wait. So with Resident Evil 2 Remake, they had like 5 different outfits you could pick from, and then also like the DLC pistols and whatnot. But then with 3, they had only those 3 outfits. So less outfits, no extra special pistols, no special unlock, to get the infinite launcher and infinite pistol.
No, you just unlock.
So you have to play the game once before getting infinite ammo. And then this and that. And then they cut like big sections in the story where they cut this and that and this, and then they just ported the weapons from 2 and not actually putting the weapons from 3, because they were different weapons in both of them and different enemies. But they just straight up
kept the same weapons.
They just straight up took the assets of 2 and put it in 3, and then they just put a sewer section in the 3 Remake, and then
there was no sewer section in 3.
And then
well, in the original.
And then they changed the creatures to be different creatures. Like there's literally a creature of like combination of the 2. So in the original 3, there's this creature like a boss, which acted like an enemy or something, like whatever. And then in 3 Remake, they separated them into like 2 different regular enemies. And when people played the remake, I don't remember what they are.
What creatures?
But in the remake, people were like, oh, so you took away that boss fight and you just turned them into, and you kind of just turn them into 2 different enemies.
I don't know what type of, I don't know what boss is talking about.
I think one of them was, one of the enemies were in the sewers, and then the other was something else. When I play it, I can kind of point out the creatures.
Well, because I know there's a lizard, there was some sort of like slime creature.
And then they changed the spider, you know the spider area? Those were supposed to be regular Resident Evil spiders from like, you know, like Resident Evil 1, all that stuff,
yeah,
how like the regular spiders.
Oh, instead of the actual creatures like...
They were supposed to just look like that, and then with 3 Remake, they're like, oh, let's make them creepier looking, and then they don't even look like spiders.
They lay eggs inside Jill's stomach.
And then with the 3 Remake, they don't even look like spiders anymore. It's like, wait, that was supposed to be a spider.
They lay eggs in Jill's stomach. It's almost,
like there's too many things. Man. There's too many things that they changed from 3 that made a lot of the 3 fans upset.
But then
the reason why I was hyped for 3 Remake is I'm like, oh, I finally get to know the story of 3. Well, I kind of already knew the gist of the story of 3. I'm just saying, like, I finally get to see why people liked 3, even though like people didn't like the clunky controls.
The only reason why I didn't like.
And then trying to play regular 3 nowadays
the original
is like really hard to do because it didn't age well. Like a lot of these things don't age well. If you didn't play it back then, it's gonna be hard to play now. Which is why I've yet to play several games, because it's just like I didn't get to play it then, so trying to play it now is just
it really
so hard.
I could definitely tell that Resident Evil 3 did not age well.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna like 3, and then like I said, all this happened. I was like, Well, it just made me like it less. I'm still gonna have fun playing through it once. It's just not gonna be as fun as like Resident Evil 2 Remake was.
Yep.
And people had problems with Resident Evil 2 Remake because
Shit.
because they said that Resident Evil 2 Remake, you're losing all your fire people.
No, I'm fine.
Because, you know, like what I was saying with like Resident Evil 2 Remake, apparently they cut stuff from there too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as bad as 3, like they only cut a few things in comparison. So like, oh, they cut things, and they're like, I wonder if they're gonna cut things in 3. Resident Evil 3 came out a year later, and like, so instead of not cutting things out, they cut even more.
They cut a lot of stuff
They
out.
took a lot of shortcuts in making Resident Evil 3, like I said, like reusing the assets, cutting content, and
The thing is, though,
just pushing it out.
I actually did like.
But like I said, Resident Evil 3 Remake is probably fun. I played the demo; it seemed fun. Just with the expectations that it was gonna be like a full remake, and then they said it's a reimagining. That's why things are cut. And
Resident Evil 3 actually was fun. I thought it was fun.
I just don't like that excuse, because instead of admitting that they just wanted to rush it out, and that's why stuff was cut, they're like, it's a reimagining. It's not supposed to be the same. It's just like, fuck you.
Playing both.
It was just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, just don't make the excuse. Just say that you ran out of time and pushed it out.
Playing both of them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Playing both of them, I kind of think.
No, but imagine the original 3 remade, like how 3 is, right? I mean, the 2 and like, because 2 was good, 2 remake was good, but the original 3 with all the content and updated remake version of 3, it would have been really good. That's what people were expecting. That's what I'm saying. Like, people were so upset when they played the game. Like, oh, this was not worth $60.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people were upset that they spent $60 on like a $30 game.
It was a short game, but after playing 3 and then the remake,
and people were like,
I think the remake's better. I think the
no, yeah, they're definitely better because especially because you know the limitations of back then.
Okay, the
got,
story.
And then you know, like the story of like Resident Evil 3 is that like they had like 2 other story, like they were made a game and then they scrapped it, made another one.
It was already a short game because.
And then they scrapped it.
Yes.
And then they're like, shit, we have to make something. They made Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. That's why it's called Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
It was just gonna be called Resident Evil Nemesis.
Because they scrapped Resident Evil 3 like 2 different times. And they had to have a game. So
they should just
named
it Nemesis, and then they should have just named Resident Evil 3 Code Veronica.
That's why people were upset with the 3 remake, is because they cut a short game and made it shorter.
Yes, they did.
Which is why they're saying, like, why they complained about it, saying that like this is not a 60. Like that's the main complaint, because like it's a fun game. I love the game. Don't get me wrong, but because they cut so much content, it's not worth the $60 price point.
The thing is, though, after playing,
I mean, with Resident Evil 2, that's what I did too, because I was like, Resident Evil 2 was fun. It's a short game, so I'm gonna wait until it goes on sale.
I just think that Resident Evil 3,
I think I got it for $20.
I just think Resident Evil 3 is not was never worth really worth a remake.
People wanted
it wasn't
Code
as
Veronica.
good. Yeah, playing both of them. I don't think it was actually that good of a game. I think that it was
people wanted a Code Veronica remake, but then they
I think they're both too rushed. The original one was rushed, and so was the new one. I think they're both too. They should have just stick.
What would have been cool? What would have been cool is if they did 3 remake and Code Veronica remake and bundled them together.
I think they should,
instead of doing the online Resident Evil game, Project Resistance.
Yes,
you know?
I think they should just stick with Code Veronica.
Because 3 is short, and in Code Veronica was longer, and.
I really just think that they should have just made Code Veronica. I really do. I think they should just stick with making.
Actually, they still could have done 3, but sold it for like $40 because honestly, it's only like a $40 game.
Because
like if they didn't cut out all the content, then instead of it being like a $30 game, then it'd be like a $40 game.
It seems like whenever they.
But instead of doing Code Veronica, because they've been supposedly working on 4 all this time, and then they gave 3 to the third. The only reason why 3 has so much stuff cut out is because apparently it was outsourced to a third-party company.
It just seems like whenever they try to make a Jill game, they mess up. But then again,
like
Revelation 1 was fun, but the problem is,
it started out on the 3DS.
You know what the problem with it was? Its final boss. With its final boss.
Actually, I never found him too hard.
It seems like tons of people who play the game find it hard. Like everyone.
Like when I originally fought him, it only took me like 2 or 3 tries, right?
Yeah.
And then when I redid it again, like on the PS4, because I originally did on the 3DS,
3DS.
and then I did on the PS4, it only took me like 2 or 3 attempts again. I was like, and like watching you, like apparently, like you know how you're trying to do the perfect dodge. I wasn't doing that. I was like, I found a better strategy, which I think I did on the DS as well, where like you kind of predict what he's gonna do, and then just shoot at his weak point, just keep moving around. Like me keep moving around, like made it easier.
It just
But
seemed.
like the reason why I failed like the first 2 attempts is because I was getting too low on ammo. I was like, shit.
I just think when they try to make a Jill.
But yeah, it was kind of a difficult.
When they try to make a solo Jill game, it just doesn't do well.
Yeah, and then I think.
And they need it, and they. It's
and then
not
whenever
because of Jill, it's because
yeah,
of how
and
they
then whenever
make
the
it,
game
when they
doesn't
make it.
sell well, it's like, oh, I guess female characters don't sell.
It's not because of Jill. It's just because of the way the.
I guess people don't like Jill. No, they do like Jill. They like Jill games.
See, okay, Resident Evil 3 story's fine. Okay, it's not nothing has to do with the story. It's just how short the game, how short it is.
That's
and
the
how
main
much-
problem, is because it was people had expectations. Those expectations weren't met because this and that, and of course, with it being outsourced, of course it wasn't. And how rushed it was, they only had a year to work on it. So, I mean, bravo for them for like getting it where it was for just 1 year. You know, like it's probably pretty good for 1 year work or 2 years. It probably was being worked on for 2 years because it was by a different company. It was probably I don't know.
I don't have high expectations. I don't have like this amazing expectations about not the new Resident Evil games, about Cyberpunk. I don't have this amazing expectations. I just want it just because.
Ever since
Just because
like I think like it was like 6 years or 5 years ago, I stopped having high expectations for things because you learn that when you have high expectations, then you get bummed out and you just hate the game or hate the show.
And if it doesn't work out, then you just
end up not liking the thing because you had too high of expectations. But if you have low expectations and then nothing happens, you're fine. If you have low expectations and something happens, then you're super excited.
When I get to the
because you had no expectations, right? Then when something happens, you're like jumping with joy because it's like, you know what? Didn't expect that to happen. But if you have high expectations and it happens, you're just kind of like, oh, it happened.
When I get to the ship, I have to say something about. I just gotta remember that. I completely forgot about it. I was gonna say it.
Honestly, I'd still probably rank 4 on top.
4? Yeah, 4.
And then Resident Evil 2 Remake.
It was
because Resident Evil 2 Remake was really fun.
It was awesome. Yes.
And then after that, it kind of gets funky.
People definitely did say even the original 2 was amazing. People really loved the original 2 as well.
Actually, I'd probably do 4, 2 Remake, 5, because 5, I always have fun doing 5 because like if I'm playing with somebody else,
That's
like doing the story. Desperate Escape kind of sucks. Lost in Nightmares, the story, and then kind of grinding the mercenaries to unlock all the characters. But I'm not sure. I think you just get all the characters anymore with Gold Edition.
Really? You can't grind,
I don't know.
You don't have to grind them anymore? I remember in 6 you had to grind them.
Well, with the Mercenaries Reunion, you got all those extra characters. With regular Mercenaries, you had to unlock all the characters. I think you still have to unlock those, if I remember right. I don't remember.
Come on, you stupid crown, hurry up, hurry
You're
up.
not gonna make it in time.
Yeah, I might, but we have 1 second.
So, those would probably be my top 3 Resident Evil games. And then after that, it gets kind of funky how I'd rate it. I mean, I liked 1.
But
0 was kind of weird, I don't know.
I didn't mind 0.
Zero, I like the kind of different control.
Oh, Omar's kid.
Oh yeah, my allowance doubled, and it's all thanks to my papa. After all, he's a great captain, but when in the world would he be able to come home, huh?
Not anytime soon, kid. Probably another 5 more days, or 7 maybe.
But honestly, I played 1, and then I tried playing 2 and 3. I just couldn't get into 2 and 3, the originals. Okay. And then 0, there was just something about 0 where I was able to play it because there was just the unique controls, and you know.
So.